Hey, so long time no see. I want to talk about something today that is very personal to myself, but I think that it affects a lot of people. And just like most things mental health related, I think people, people don't talk about it. There's a stigma associated with it. And I think that if we talk about it, then it becomes less weird and less isolating. So I want to talk about adult bullying. And I'm going to talk about a very specific type of bullying, and that is what comes from the narcissist, or, things that you see as a result of narcissism. Now, I'm not just talking about like narcissism in the self-absorbed way, like I take a lot of selfies and I love myself, That's one way that people use narcissism, kind of at a surface level, like, oh, you're such a narcissist. But I'm talking about clinically diagnosed narcissism, and you might be thinking wow, that's really specific and really rare, but I think that once you become aware of it, you start to see it more and more out and about. Now, I need to tell you, I was raised by a narcissist, which is why this is very personal to me, and I know a lot about it. I also have a lot of PTSD as a result of it. I also have talked before, anxiety, depression. I do see a therapist. I do take meds. So this is something I've been working on for a long time. That being said, I am not a licensed therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist. So what I say is really just my personal experience and not intended to replace advice from a medical professional. So, not only was I raised by a narcissist, but I start to see these traits in things like friendships over time, or other family members, or you see it at work. And it's really interesting because one of the things that I've learned is that narcissistic traits do occur. They're prevalent in a lot of leadership roles. So if I say these things and you're like, I kind of recognize this from my boss or my boss's boss or something like that, you're not going crazy. In fact, that's a huge part of the emotional abuse that comes with narcissism, is that you are taught to question your perception of reality, sometimes questioning your own sanity. Basically at the heart of clinical narcissism, and then I'm going to extrapolate this to most adult bullies, is that their goal is to win. To always be on top no matter what. So one thing that you'll see with the narcissist a lot is always having to have the last word, always having to be right. Definitely I told you so. They want to make you feel inferior. And now the weird part about this is that it's suspected that really, really, really deep down, it comes from that same place all bullies do, which is a lack of self-confidence or a feeling that they are inferior, which is weird because you're thinking, well, narcissists, don't they think that they're, wonderful and better than everybody else? Yeah, they do, but it's also deep down that they know they suck at the same time. So if you have somebody who refuses to take responsibility for things, or refuses to take, criticism, and that's you do see this a lot of times in bosses and things like that, or they're always looking for someone else to blame for things, that's a narcissistic thing. If you're looking at someone that always wants to shame others or downplay others, it's to make them look better. Not because those other people suck. Sometimes people can suck, but the goal is for them to always come out on top. So when I say for them to win, that's what I'm talking about. They always want to win. So even if an issue is really small and you're who cares about this thing? They do. They always want to win. They'll come back to it later. If you know somebody that's always keeping a running record of we call it the binder of wrongs that you have done, hey families, that's definitely a narcissistic thing. If you're treated like your problems are never a big deal, well, what are you so upset about that for? It's because no one's problems are as important as the narcissist's problems, but also it's that teaching you to kind of question your own reality. And you're is this a big deal? Am I upset about this? Unjustly? I don't know. Should I be upset about this? Am I making too much of it? Or if your problems aren't that big of a deal, they'll also find a way to let you know that you're the problem. And now, as a result of this, one of the things I've always prided myself on as an adult is that I feel I've always been really good at taking criticism or admitting my part in things. And then not too long ago, I realized, that's because you've always been told that it's your fault, Jen, and you've always been told to, accept your responsibility and everything. So this is a direct result. It's that PTSD of being raised by a narcissist and always told that, something you did was wrong. So one of the terms for this manipulation and this questioning of your reality is called gaslighting. And basically it's just manipulating through psychological means to make you question your own sanity, but making you question your perception of reality. So the classic one going on right now with teachers is you are scared for your life to go back to school. You don't want to go back to school. You can miss being at school. You can miss the kids and also not want to be back at school because you want to be safe. You can have both, by the way. You can have both feelings can exist. But if someone tells you, well, you must not be a very good teacher and you must not really love your kids because you don't want to go back to school. You're basically, and they don't always use those words, but that's like kind of the sentiment behind it. Like, well, the good teachers are willing to put on their PPE and get in. They're basically telling you that you're not a good teacher because you're holding your health and safety and your family's health and safety as priority. They're making you doubt and question and making other people doubt and question your commitment to your job. And that's really screwed up and it's wrong and it's gaslighting and you don't have to listen to it. So, surprise, it doesn't mean that life's not hard. So maybe you have enough information now that you're like, oh, okay, I do think that I see this in my life. I see this with some other people, maybe a boss or coworker, maybe family members. Maybe you're not sure. I actually found a list of items, and I'll cite my sources in the comments and things if you want to go check this out. But if you are always wondering if you're too sensitive about things, if you're feeling more anxious or depressed than you used to be, if you're apologizing often and always thinking that things are your fault when they go wrong, questioning whether your response to your partner is appropriate. Wow, that one hits with me all the time because I constantly had a coworker that I would use to bounce things off of, like, hey, this situation happened and I'm upset about it. Is that okay? Would you be upset about that too? Is this right? Should I be angry about that? Yeah, because you're never quite sure. You're probably being manipulated. You're probably the victim of a narcissist, of an adult bully. So, all of this being said, great, Jen. Woo! I definitely know these people in my life. You didn't have to explain it. I knew from the get-go I had these people. The question is, what do you do about it? And that's really hard. If you are in a job and you have a boss or someone that's doing these sorts of things, honestly, in my humble opinion, if you can get out, I would get out. Now, you might not be able to. I'm not necessarily in a place where I can get up and leave. You basically want to have as little contact as possible, is basically the only way to deal with a narcissist is to not engage them. So there's a few things you can do. Number one, let go of your need for approval from them because it's not going to come. You do need to go through a sort of grieving process that what you thought, what you hoped for, or what you always wished for in that parent was going to happen, it's not going to happen. And it sucks because you do have to sort of grieve for what might have been or what could have been, but it's not going to happen. You might choose to sever all ties, which is something that my family has done as a form of self-preservation because the kind of emotional abuse that I went through once I had my son, I realized that I wanted to stop that cycle from happening. So I go to therapy because I've been so well trained in it that I will catch myself using those same sorts of tactics sometimes that were used on me. And I have to be hyper aware of it because I want to not be like that. I want to stop that. But a true narcissist will not admit to being a narcissist. They don't know it. They don't care to know it. They won't believe you anyways. So the odds of them, healing or getting better, slim to none, which is why getting away is honestly your best bet. Because these people are bullies, if you do choose to sever ties, you have to understand that how a bully works is that sometimes it escalates before it gets better. Because remember, their goal is to win. So if you, won't talk to them, oh my gosh, you somehow now have the upper hand. So they're going to come at you and they're going to try to, you have to kind of you have to trust in yourself. You have to stay strong in yourself. You have to find your validation and your self-worth in other things than that person and that relationship, be it a work relationship or be, a family relationship or whatever. you need to find your own confidence from within to kind of stand up for it and refuse to take it. Now, another tactic that is used sometimes is known as gray rock, which is where you just become so boring and uninteresting to this person that they sort of disengage with you. Now, I found that in my life, that didn't really work for me in my family situation because it just didn't. But in a work relationship, I could see that maybe working. It sucks because I feel like in those situations where you have to act differently, it limits you and it keeps you, because you're always kind of on guard and trying to kind of be as boring as possible and kind of like get the attention away from that person. It holds you back from, being your true self. So I don't love that situation, but it's a good survival skill in the meantime. Honestly, I think the number one thing is to just be aware. The awareness, the knowing that it exists, the understanding that it exists, being able to spot it when you see it, and just being able to call out what it is when you see it, even if it's just within your own head. That's gaslighting. Nope, not accepting it, not taking it, and not to fall for it. That is probably bigger than anything else, and then you can, on your own, in your own personal situation, decide what you want to do with that. But, yeah, as you're thinking about going back into school and you're being told that you're a terrible teacher, you're not a terrible teacher. You're an amazing teacher, and you need to not listen to those people that are just trying to manipulate you into doing what they want. You know what you believe in. You know what is right. You can be sad about not seeing your kids, but also want to be safe and healthy. Totally normal. It's a good thing. You're a good teacher because of that. Don't fall for it. Don't give in to that. It's a bunch of garbage. And my own self, I don't know if I'll be doing videos as regularly. It's been a while. Took a little pause. Coming back now, may or may not be another one. Might start small. Maybe once a month or something like that. We're going to have to see how it goes. And hang in there. I'm still here. Take care of yourself. Be safe. Reach out if you need help. And I wish y'all well. Thanks.
Be sure to subscribe to the ResetEDU channel for the latest project updates and episodes. If you're interested in a reset for your own classroom, be sure to fill out the form at bit.ly/ResetEDU. Thank you for watching.